Hey guys, it's Fire Force Doggo again, and there's nothing you can do about it. Do you want to play Escape from Tarkov but feel a little iffy about throwing 45 bucks at some random Russians? Well, now you can throw 20 bucks at some random Russians, but on Steam. Deadside, a Tarkov imitator slash competitor, just came to early access in April, and it piqued my interest, so I thought I'd give it a try. Join me as we take a look at the latest entry into the half-finished murder hobo battle royale walking simulator genre that spawned the likes of DayZ, 7 Days to Die, and Rust. At its core, Deadside is a first/third-person shooter with survival, base building, and crafting elements. It's a wonder that with PvP in the game, they didn't try to claim that it's roguelike as well, to really hit all the video game buzzwords in one go. The premise is some vaguely defined post-apocalyptic background. At this point, it really just serves as a quaint backdrop to you murdering an ever-increasing number of AI or human opponents in a quest for things like soda or bomber jackets. One glorious thing is that the developers have already confirmed that there won't be any zombies, mutants, furries, YouTubers, Patreon whores, or any other monsters that seem obligatory in a lot of survival games today. You start out with a folding knife, a lighter, and in true Slavic fashion, a wife beater and tracksuit pants. From there, you have to find, steal, or kill your way to better gear, clothing and guns, complete missions, and build a new life for yourself. The central mechanics of shooting, looting, and walking have all been pretty well implemented, and the foundation of a good game is here. Walking especially has a few logical elements that are a godsend, such as an auto-run feature and a lack of stamina depletion. These are a must because you're going to be doing a lot of time walking in this game, either to missions, to your base once you build one, to a stash, or to a safe zone. Gunplay, the primary combat system here, is handled well and tends to be short and deadly, a meta that's much closer to Arma than sponge and spray games like The Division. Character death is normal, expected, and accounted for in game design. More on the guns in a bit. Of the three, looting is probably the least enjoyable right now. Inventory management, a crucial element in the game, can be opaque at times. The basic setup seems similar to Tarkov, but there are some things I've noticed that could use refinement. For example, you can put guns in your storage box, but not if they have any attachments on them, which isn't immediately clear. Stackable items don't auto-stack just by dragging them into your inventory. Instead, you either have to drag them over a stack with space, or click a submenu option. Again, this isn't immediately clear, at least to someone new to the game. Buying and selling is a little primitive right now too. There's no confirm button before buying, just click and it's yours, even if you clicked on it by accident. I'd lost some money a couple of times on items that I didn't want this way, and it was kind of annoying. On the flip side, selling stuff is annoying at times too, as you can only sell full stacks of ammo, meaning you have a lot of half stacks clogging up your inventory that you have to wait to sell or just simply trash. Also, there's no value stat assigned to items until you reach the right venue, so when you loot, figuring out what is saleable and what is not is a guessing game at first. This isn't deal-breaking, but more of a learning curve that could be easily removed. There's a minimal HUD on screen, which I like. It's got all the basic stats, health, thirst, hunger, and ammo, which gives you all the relevant information you need at a glance. Well, almost all. The game does not have an on-screen compass right now, which seems like a bid for realism, only you can put a big waypoint marker on your screen that's way less realistic and affects your ability to check for threats. Hopefully this will be something that they implement at some point. Now all this leads up to the fact that you'll run into human and AI characters, some or all of whom will be hostile depending on the server you're in. There's a proximal voice communication system to talk and arrange ceasefires, but I haven't had any luck with getting it to work yet. Of course, there's always Discord too, and that's fine by me. Missions are simple raid and shoot style affairs right now in 4 levels of difficulty. They appear randomly and are open to everyone on the map. This creates opportunities to team up or compete for the brass ring at the end. Later, the developer is going to implement things like airdrops, crashed supply helicopters, and presumably other mission types as well. This leads to the biggest issue with the alpha, and that's content. The map is about 25 square kilometers right now and is supposed to grow in the future, but the north part of the map as it is, in particular, feels bare right now. More scav types, more locations to explore, and most importantly, more gear is crucial to a game like this. Right now, the south end of the map shows off the potential of the game best, with refineries, ports, and small cities already there, setting the mood for a dangerous labyrinth to discover. There are 2 safe zones as well, where you can buy, sell, and and store items that you don't need. It allows a breather from the action, but preventing safe zone camping or bandits prowling the perimeter is something that has not been addressed at present, if it ever will be. At review, there are about 10 guns in the game, and that's what we're all here for, isn't it? There's a few attachments, mainly red dots and flashlights, and you don't have to hunt down mags or gun parts, only ammo to get rockin' and rollin', which speeds up the progress noticeably. At some point, I and many others hope that high magnification scopes, silencers, similar items, or at least binoculars are implemented, as these would be a monumental advantage in long-range scouting and planning for players. As it stands right now, the graphics and view distance just present a claustrophobic effect that is compelling, but also fundamentally limiting in how players are able to experience the game. Clothing, packs, and miscellaneous gear are also similarly lacking right now, although there is some variety. One neat inclusion is the radio, which warns you of nearby AI scabs by monitoring their radio traffic and allowing you to plan accordingly, either to avoid or fight them off. One thing that I hope gets addressed further at some point is the survival elements. At present, hunger and thirst are not huge impediments to you playing, although they do need to be monitored. Unfortunately, at the time of this review, the only way to manage them is through scavenged or purchased food and drink, and I'd like to see some sort of disease mechanic implemented. The gamble of hunger or dehydration versus drinking river water or eating questionable food in games like 7 Days to Die presents a realistic and enjoyable cost-benefit analysis, and I hope some similar system is implemented here. Finally, I want to address crafting and base building in the game, which are pretty much an afterthought right now, kind of like gameplay in a Kojima title. More to the point, they're kind of slow and frankly a chore, and if there's one big gripe I have about this game right now, this is it. For example, to build a base, you've got to craft a frame, then a wall to make one section, and you have to do that multiple times in order to make a base. All of this takes a lot of materials, wood, nails, and tools, and all of that takes up precious inventory space. The inventory drain, tediousness, and slow pace all make base building nigh impossible in PvP servers and are still a slog on PvE ones. Bases are permanent, and when combined with your character not being able to be killed when you're logged off, there is some benefit and security to going through with the process that's totally absent in games like Rust. While sharing the workload with the clan might seem like a simple workaround, group bases are not currently an option in the game. Luckily, you can happily murder, loot, and live as a transient without any real effect on you at this stage in development. The graphics are what I would call Far Cry standard and are nice for the most part. They're nothing mind-blowing, but they're not mud mixed with thoroughly outdated graphics engines like some games in this genre. Optimization feels good with some caveats. There's not a lot of pop-in, tearing, or glitching, which bodes well for the game. The night effect is pronounced without being overdone, and the effect of the sun through the trees can be actually stunning at times. The light and shade effects are fantastic during the daytime, and certainly have effect on your visibility and concealment. Now that's not to say the game's totally error-free. There's some goofy effects that happen on the water right now, which I'm sure they'll fix, and the textures are pretty good on pretty much everything, but are a bit fuzzy and ragged at long range. This is kind of a problem for picking out targets or scouting at a distance, even with everything set to epic. If there's a graphical improvement to be made to this game right now, this is definitely it, as it's the main source of that hemmed-in effect I mentioned earlier. As far as presentation goes, there's some translation errors, typos, and at least one situation where it seemed like the Russian hadn't been translated to English yet, but nothing that truly makes the game unenjoyable. The menus are Spartan but effective, although they could use some polish in order to make the game feel more finished. This is definitely far down on my list of things to improve, though. Like graphics, sound here is pretty average. It's not great, and that's not terrible. One shining point I would say is the ambient noise, birds, trees rustling, and the like. It keeps you on your toes and constantly checking your surroundings. Firearms are another high point, and there's a good punch anytime a firearm gets let loose. Every time someone takes a shot at me in this game, it scares the shit out of me, and it sounds good both up close and far away. The proximal voice and sound system actually works quite well when it does work, and it makes noise control crucial to staying alive. Much like real life, you can't just crack open a can of food to replace some of your hunger meter mid-sneak and expect it not to be heard by anybody nearby. I like this little touch of realism, and it's one of those things that you don't think about its absence until someone implements a mechanic like this, though Deadside's certainly not the first one to implement it. Overall, general sound effects like footsteps, water rushing by, and action sounds are fine, but aren't anything special. Overall, I'd give this game a provisional 7 out of 10, heavily contingent on regular, sensible updates that will either make or break this game. More points of interest, some mission variety, weapons customization, and sweet, sweet gear will show whether this game can compete with Tarkov. Everything else, except maybe some graphical improvements, are secondary, I think, and the bones of a great game are here. Perhaps most importantly, it was cheaper and I have Steam to fall back on to check the development of the game. As cool as Escape from Tarkov seems, I just can't bring myself to fork over $45 for a multi-year beta to somebody that I don't know. Deadside has no assurances that it will be any better, but it was half the price, which makes it much easier to swallow as a cost of entry. That's it for me for now. Mutilate that like and subscribe button, hit the notification bell, subscribe to my Patreon, and sign my petition to have the executives at History Channel repeat 4 years of high school history classes. If you've played Deadside or Escape from Tarkov, let me know your thoughts below. If you think I missed an important point, thought the review was good, thought the review was shit, or anything else, let me know that too, and I'll be happy to fight with you about it like a proper YouTube intellectual would. Catch you guys next time, and thanks for watching.